Lily Carson yawned as she stared at the computer screen. It was past midnight at the California Observatory, and she was the only one still working. Everyone else had gone home hours ago, but Lily wanted to finish analyzing the data from the new Deep Space Telescope. She took a sip of cold coffee and squinted at the display. Something was wrong with the readings. A section of space near the Andromeda Galaxy appeared completely empty. No stars, no radiation, nothing. At first, she thought it might be a technical glitch, but after running 3 diagnostic checks, the equipment seemed to be functioning normally. "That's impossible," she muttered to herself, zooming in on the anomaly. According to the data, the void was expanding, growing larger at an increasing rate. She quickly saved the readings and sent a message to her colleague John Miller. Despite the late hour, he responded within minutes. "I'll be there in 20, his text read. While waiting, Lily compared the current data with observations from previous weeks. The void wasn't there 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, it appeared as a tiny pinprick of darkness. Now it was the size of a small solar system. The observatory door opened, and John walked in, looking tired but curious. "This better be good, Lily. I was in the middle of a dream about winning the lottery." "Look at this," she said, pointing at her screen. "Tell me what you see." John leaned forward, adjusting his glasses. "Is that nothing? Like completely nothing?" "Exactly. No light, no radiation, no matter. Just absolute emptiness. And it's growing." John frowned, taking the seat next to her. "Let me check the equipment settings." For the next hour, they tested everything, looking for any explanation. They even pointed a different telescope at the same coordinates. The results were identical. "We need to report this," Lily said finally. "Whatever this is, it's not natural." "Let's not jump to conclusions," John cautioned. "It could be a new cosmic phenomenon we don't understand yet. Maybe some kind of super black hole or dark matter concentration. Black holes emit Hawking radiation. This emits nothing. It's like a piece of the universe is just disappearing." They decided to continue monitoring the anomaly through the night. By morning, the void had grown another measurable amount. Lily calculated that at its current rate of expansion, it would reach the nearest star system to its edge within a year. She was about to call the National Science Foundation when the observatory door opened again. This time, 3 people in dark suits walked in. The woman in front showed a government ID. "I'm Agent San Harris, United States Space Defense Agency. We need to speak with whoever is in charge of the Deep Space Observation Program." John and Lily exchanged worried glances. The Space Defense Agency was a secretive organization that few scientists had any contact with. "That would be us," John said, standing up. "I'm the program director, and Dr. Carson here is our lead astronomer." Agent Harris nodded curtly. "We've detected unusual readings from your observatory's data stream. We need all your files related to Sector 7 Alpha 42. Lily felt her heart sink. That was exactly where the void was located. "How did you know we were observing that sector?" she asked. "All deep space observations are monitored for national security," Harris replied. "Now the files, please." While John reluctantly began copying data for the agents, Lily discreetly sent a compressed backup to her private cloud storage. Something told her this discovery was too important to surrender completely. As the agents prepared to leave with their equipment and data, Lily asked, "Do you know what it is?" "This void we found." Agent Harris paused at the door. "Dr. Carson, for your own safety and the safety of everyone you care about, forget you ever saw anything unusual. This matter is now classified at the highest level." After they left, John sighed heavily. "Well, there goes our research. Back to regular star mapping tomorrow, I guess." But Lily wasn't ready to forget. That night, she downloaded the backup data to her home computer and began her own investigation into what she now called the eternal night phenomenon. 5 years had passed since Lily Carson's discovery of the void. Now she stood in a massive conference room aboard the orbital station Unity, looking down at Earth through the curved window. The blue planet looked peaceful from space, but Lily knew better. Humanity had changed forever after learning they weren't alone in the universe. The Interstellar Defense Coalition formed quickly after 3 alien species made contact with Earth. They came seeking allies against what they called the growing darkness. Lily's discovery had been just the beginning. "Commander Wright, the Viridian representatives have arrived," announced a young officer. Alex Wright nodded. He was tall and serious, with graying hair at his temples despite being only 40. As the head of humanity's scientific division within the coalition, he carried enormous responsibility. "Thank you, Lieutenant. Tell them I'll be right there." Lily followed Alex down the corridor. "Do you think they'll share their latest findings?" she asked. "The Viridians guard their research closely," Alex replied. "But the situation is getting worse. They can't afford to hold back now." They entered the chamber where delegates from the 4 allied species gathered around a holographic display. The Viridians were tall, with bluish skin and 4 arms. The Nexus representatives looked more insect-like, with compound eyes and chitinous exoskeletons. The Arcturus delegates resembled large, upright felines with scaled skin. Kate Foster, Earth's chief diplomat, was already there, speaking quietly with the Viridian leader. Kate had a talent for putting alien species at ease, which made her invaluable to the coalition. "Let's begin," said Alex, taking his place at the table. "Our combined research teams have made a breakthrough." He activated the holographic display, showing the expanded void. What had once been a small anomaly now stretched across multiple star systems. "The void is not a natural phenomenon," Alex stated. "Our analysis confirms it's an artificial construct." The Nexus representative clicked its mandibles. "How can you be certain?" "We've detected energy patterns at the void's edge that can only be explained by technology," Alex explained. "Very advanced technology." Lily stepped forward. "We've also detected a message embedded in the radiation patterns." This caused a stir among the delegates. The Arcturus representative leaned forward, ears flattened against her head. "What message?" Kate pressed a button, and 3 words appeared above the hologram. "Eternal night approaches." "Is this a warning or a threat?" asked the Viridian leader. "We believe it's both," Kate answered. "Whatever intelligence created this void, they want us to know they're coming." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The void had already consumed 7 inhabited worlds. 3 civilizations had been completely wiped out, leaving no survivors. "We've tracked the expansion rate," Lily added. "If it continues accelerating, it will reach Viridian space within 2 years, Arcturus territory within 3, and Earth within 5. The Nexus representative's wings buzzed in agitation. "Our scientists have been studying ancient records. There are legends of a darkness that consumed worlds long ago. Most dismissed them as myths." "We need more than legends," Alex said firmly. "We need weapons, defenses, anything that might help us fight this threat." Kate moved to calm the growing tension. The coalition was formed for exactly this purpose. Alone, none of our species can stand against the void. Together, we might have a chance. As the meeting continued, Lily's data pad pinged with an alert. A coalition scout ship had encountered something unusual at the edge of the void. A damaged vessel of unknown origin, apparently fleeing the darkness. She showed the message to Alex, who nodded grimly. "This meeting is adjourned," he announced. "We have a new development that requires immediate attention. The Horizon has made contact with possible survivors from within the void. If they've seen what we're up against, their information could be crucial." As the delegates filed out, Kate approached Lily. "Do you think these survivors could help us?" Lily stared at the holographic display, at the endless darkness slowly devouring the stars. "I hope so," she whispered. "Because right now, we're running out of options." Captain Daniel Green stood on the bridge of the Coalition scout ship Horizon, watching the damaged alien vessel through the main view screen. The ship was unlike anything he had ever seen. Organic curves melded with crystalline structures, all scorched and broken along one side, as if something had taken a massive bite out of it. "Any response to our hails?" he asked his communications officer. "Yes, sir. They're transmitting visual now." The screen flickered and revealed a humanoid figure with silver-blue skin and large, dark eyes. Injuries marked its face, and something like blue blood stained its clothing. "This is Captain Daniel Green of the Coalition vessel Horizon. We're here to offer assistance." The alien seemed to study him for a moment before speaking. The ship's translation system processed the sounds into English. "I am. The word in your language would be guardian. My people are the Meridian. We are grateful for your aid." 6 hours later, the surviving Meridians had been brought aboard the Horizon. There were only 11 of them, according to Guardian, the last of their entire civilization. In the ship's conference room, Daniel sat with his first officer and the ship's doctor as Guardian explained their situation. "Our world was on the edge of what you call the void," Guardian said, his voice soft and musical despite the translation. "We watched it approach for many years. We built ships to escape, but when the darkness finally came, it moved faster than we predicted." "What exactly is the void?" Daniel asked. Guardian's large eyes blinked slowly. "It is not empty as you believe. Within it dwell the void makers. They consume everything. Matter, energy, even light itself." The doctor leaned forward. "Are they a species? A civilization?" "They are ancient, older than any known intelligence in the galaxy. They sleep for millions of years, then awaken hungry." Guardian touched a device on his wrist, projecting a hologram of swirling, shadowy forms. "This is all we managed to record before our sensors failed." Daniel felt a chill watching the dark shapes move. They seemed to bend and twist in impossible ways. "Did your people try to communicate with them?" he asked. "Yes, they responded only once." Guardian's voice trembled. "They said, 'All light must end.'" The first officer whispered, "How did you escape?" "Our ship was one of 50 that fled when the darkness came. We were the furthest out when they attacked. We watched the others." Guardian paused, emotion overwhelming him. "They did not die quickly." Daniel exchanged glances with his officers. This was worse than they had imagined. "Is there any way to fight them?" he asked. For the first time, Guardian showed something like hope. "There may be. Our oldest records speak of a defense system created by a species called the Precursors. They faced the Void Makers long ago and managed to push them back into hibernation." "Where is this defense system?" Guardian projected another hologram, showing coordinates. "Here, orbiting a neutron star in what you call the Perseus Arm. If it still exists, it may be our only hope." Daniel immediately contacted Coalition Command. Within hours, a secure conference was arranged with the Coalition leadership. Alex Wright and Kate Foster listened intently as Daniel reported everything the Meridians had shared. The other Coalition representatives appeared shocked. "These coordinates could lead us to a weapon against the Void," Daniel concluded. "Or it could be a trap," said the Arcturus representative. "We know nothing about these Meridians." Kate Foster stepped in. "They've lost their entire civilization. What would they gain by deceiving us?" "We need to investigate these coordinates," Alex insisted. "If there's even a chance this defense system exists." "I volunteer the Horizon for the mission," Daniel interrupted. "My crew is already familiar with the Meridians, and we're the fastest ship in the Coalition fleet." There was heated debate among the representatives. Trust didn't come easily between species with such different histories and values. Finally, Alex spoke. "Captain Green, assemble a specialized team. You leave in 48 hours." As the meeting ended, Daniel looked at Guardian, who watched him with those large, haunted eyes. "We'll find this defense system," Daniel promised. "And we'll stop the Void Makers." Guardian bowed slightly. "I hope you are right, Captain. For all our sakes. The newly christened ship Stargazer hung in orbit above Earth, its sleek hull gleaming in the sunlight. Unlike other coalition vessels, this one had been specially modified for the dangerous journey ahead. The mission was simple in concept but nearly impossible in execution. Find the ancient defense system and activate it before the void consumed more worlds. Engineer Olivia Bennett floated through the engine room, checking each system one last time. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and her fingers moved with practiced precision over the control panels. "How's the temporal stabilizer holding up?" she asked her assistant. "All green, Chief, but I still don't understand how you modified it to work with the Viridian tech." Olivia smiled. "Sometimes you have to break the rules of conventional physics." She patted the bulkhead affectionately. "This ship is now the fastest in the coalition. We'll need every advantage where we're going." On the command deck, Captain Daniel Green reviewed the mission parameters with his officers. The Meridian survivor, Guardian, stood nearby, observing the humans with curious eyes. "The journey will take us through 3 sectors of space already affected by the void's expansion," Daniel explained. "Navigation will be challenging since normal spacetime begins to warp near the edges." Security Officer William Carter, a former Marine with a no-nonsense attitude, stepped forward. "My team has prepared for potential hostiles, but we're dealing with unknowns here. We can't predict what we might encounter." "Which is why we train for the unpredictable," Daniel replied. "How are the crew drills coming along?" "Third shift still needs work on the emergency protocols, but we're getting there," William said. "We'll run another simulation tonight." In the science lab, Xenobiologist Emma Phillips carefully examined tissue samples from Guardian. Understanding meridian biology might provide insights into surviving near the void. Emma's gentle manner had helped earn Guardian's trust, allowing this crucial research. "Your cellular structure can withstand much higher radiation levels than ours," she noted with fascination. "Was your species always like this?" Guardian shook his head. "We evolved these traits after generations living near the void's edge. Those who could not adapt died." Emma looked up from her microscope. "I'm sorry for all you've lost." "Do not pity us yet," Guardian replied. "If we succeed in finding the precursor defense, my people's sacrifice will have meaning." The ship's intercom activated with Daniel's voice. "All senior staff to the briefing room. Final mission prep begins in 15 minutes." In the briefing room, Alex Wright had arrived from Earth to deliver last-minute intelligence. Maps of space projected on the wall showed the void's expansion, with red areas marking recently consumed star systems. "The void's growth rate has increased by 17% in the last week," Alex said grimly. "We've lost contact with 3 coalition outposts near the Perseus border." Kate Foster, who had insisted on joining the mission as diplomatic liaison, asked, "Any survivors?" "None that we've detected," Alex replied. "All the more reason why this mission cannot fail." Daniel addressed his assembled team. "We launch in 6 hours. The coordinates Guardian provided will take us into uncharted space beyond coalition territory. Communications will be limited once we pass the Perseus arm relay stations." "What if the defense system isn't there?" William asked. "Or worse, what if it's there but doesn't work anymore?" "Then we gather whatever data we can and return," Daniel said firmly. "This is primarily a reconnaissance mission. We find the system, understand how it works, and report back. No heroics." Olivia snorted quietly. "Says the captain who once flew into an asteroid field to rescue miners." Guardian stepped forward. "The defense exists. The precursors were thorough in their preparations. But I must warn you, they did not defeat the Voidmakers easily. There was great sacrifice involved." As the meeting concluded, the team dispersed to make final preparations. Emma found herself walking alongside Guardian toward the observation deck. "Are you afraid?" she asked him. Guardian looked out at the stars, his expression unreadable. "Fear is for those with something to lose. I have already lost everything. Now I seek only purpose." Emma placed a hand gently on his arm. "Then we'll find it together." Above them, the stars shined bright and steady, unaware that their very light might soon be consumed by the approaching darkness. The stargazer emerged from its final jump point, systems humming as the ship decelerated. Through the main view screen, the crew stared in awe at what lay before them. A massive ring structure orbiting a pulsing neutron star. The ring was clearly artificial, composed of an unknown dark metal that absorbed rather than reflected the star's light. "We found it," breathed Daniel, rising from his captain's chair. "The precursor defense system." Guardian moved closer to the view screen, his silver-blue hands trembling. "After all these generations, it still exists." Olivia's voice came over the comm. "Captain, that structure is over 200 kilometers in diameter. The engineering required to build something that size in orbit around a neutron star is beyond anything we've ever seen." "Life signs?" Daniel asked. "None that our sensors can detect," replied Emma from the science station. "But there's definitely power running through that ring. It's not dead." William Carter stood at tactical, his posture tense. "I don't like this, Captain. We're too exposed here." "Agreed. Take us in closer, but maintain distance from the main structure. Launch sensor probes to give us a better look." As the stargazer approached the ancient ring, small details became visible. The entire surface was covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "Those aren't decorations," said Ryan Cooper, the ship's computer specialist. A young man with quick eyes and quicker fingers, Ryan had been recruited specifically for his ability to understand alien interfaces. "They're data circuits. The entire ring is basically one massive computer." Daniel turned to Guardian. "Your records mention nothing about how to activate it." "Only that it required multiple access points throughout the galaxy," Guardian replied. "The precursors designed it this way as a safeguard, ensuring no single species could control its power." Emma studied her readings with growing concern. "Captain, the neutron star is showing unusual energy fluctuations. I think the ring is drawing power directly from it." "Can we dock with the structure?" Daniel asked. Ryan pointed to a section of the ring. "There appears to be an access port on the inner curve. I'm detecting an atmosphere inside, though I can't guarantee it's breathable." Daniel nodded. "Prepare an away team. Cooper, you're with me. Dr. Phillips, we'll need you to assess any biological hazards. Lieutenant Carter, bring 2 security officers." As they prepared to board the ancient structure, the ship's communications officer interrupted. "Captain, we're receiving an emergency transmission from Coalition Command." The message came through fragmented and distorted, but Alex Wright's voice was recognizable. "Stargazer, void expansion. Accelerating dramatically. 3 outposts gone. Thousands. Casualties. Must activate. Defense. Hurry." The transmission cut off abruptly. "Try to reestablish contact," Daniel ordered, his face grim. "No response, sir. The void's interference is too strong at this distance." The away team boarded a shuttle and approached the massive ring. As they neared the access port, it opened smoothly, as if expecting them. "That's unsettling," muttered William. "Something that's been dormant for thousands of years shouldn't respond so quickly." Inside, they found corridors lit with a soft blue glow. The architecture was elegant and flowing, with no sharp angles anywhere. Everything seemed designed to channel energy rather than merely contain it. Ryan examined the wall panels, which displayed shifting symbols. "This interface is incredible. It's adapting to our presence, trying to communicate." He connected his specialized tablet to a console, and information began streaming across his screen. His expression changed from excitement to concern. "Captain, I'm accessing the central database. The precursors left records, logs of their battle with the Voidmakers." The others gathered around as images appeared. Shadows consuming entire worlds, stars blinking out one by one, and finally, the construction of the ring. "Wait," Ryan said, his voice dropping. "This isn't what we thought. The defense system doesn't destroy the void or the entities inside it. Then what does it do? Asked Emma. Ryan looked up, his face pale. It redirects it. The precursors couldn't destroy the void makers, so they built this to change the void's path, sending it away from their worlds and toward other sectors of the galaxy. Daniel's expression hardened. You're saying if we activate this, we save some civilizations by dooming others? That's exactly what I'm saying, Ryan replied. And according to these logs, once the process starts, it can't be stopped. Guardian stepped back, visibly shaken. My people believed this would save the galaxy. We never knew. The emergency shuttle raced back to the Stargazer, carrying the away team and the terrible truth they had discovered. Inside the ship's conference room, Daniel paced while Ryan Cooper displayed the precursor data on the main screen. The ring redirects the void rather than stopping it, Daniel explained to his assembled officers. If we activate it as designed, we save our worlds by condemning others. Kate Foster shook her head in disbelief. So the precursors weren't heroes. They just pushed their problem onto someone else. They were desperate, like we are, Emma said quietly. Facing extinction, they'd made the only choice they could see. Ryan zoomed in on the technical schematics. I've managed to download much of the precursor database. Their technology is incredible, but the basic principle is simple. The ring creates a dimensional current that pushes the void along a new path. Olivia studied the designs with growing excitement. Wait, if it can push the void in one direction, could we modify it to push in all directions? Disperse the void instead of redirecting it? Ryan considered this. Theoretically, yes, but it would require simultaneous activation from multiple points, just as the original design does. How many points? Asked William. At least 7, spread throughout the galaxy. Daniel turned to Kate. We need to contact the Coalition immediately. They need to know what we found, both the danger and the possibility. But when they established communication with Coalition headquarters, they found chaos. Representatives from the 4 allied species were arguing heatedly. Alex Wright appeared on screen, looking exhausted. Captain Green, your timing is perfect. We've just received data confirming 3 more systems have been consumed by the void. The Arcturus delegation is threatening to withdraw from the Coalition. Daniel quickly explained their discovery. As he spoke, the faces of the alien representatives registered shock, then anger. The Viridian leader spoke first. If this ring can save our worlds, we must activate it immediately. What happens to other sectors is not our concern. With respect, Kate interjected. That's exactly what the precursors thought. They saved themselves temporarily, but the void eventually returned. This isn't a permanent solution. The Nexus representative's mandibles clicked rapidly. We have a duty to save our own people first. And then what? Kate challenged. The void circles back in a few thousand years and destroys whoever's left. We need to break this cycle, not perpetuate it. Guardian, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. My civilization is gone because we did not understand what we faced. Do not make our mistake. This is not an enemy you can simply avoid or push away. The arguments continued for hours. The Arcturus representatives insisted on activating the ring immediately. The Viridians wanted to study it further but were leaning toward activation. Only the Nexus seemed willing to consider alternatives. Finally, Alex Wright made humanity's position clear. Earth will not participate in any plan that sacrifices other civilizations to save our own. We propose a different approach. He outlined the modification Olivia and Ryan had suggested, using the precursor technology to disperse the void rather than redirect it. It would be more complex and riskier, but it offered a chance to actually solve the problem. This will require full cooperation from all Coalition members. Alex concluded. We need your ships, your scientists, and your courage. There was silence as the alien representatives considered this proposal. The Arcturus delegation withdrew to consult privately. The Viridian leader looked skeptical. Why should we trust the human plan? she asked. "Your species is the youngest among us. Perhaps that's why we're not willing to accept defeat or sacrifice others," Kate replied. "We haven't been fighting long enough to lose hope." Guardian stepped forward again. "The Meridians will support Earth's plan. We have nothing left to lose, but the galaxy has everything to gain." Slowly, reluctantly, the other species began to agree. Not all of them. Several representatives stormed out, vowing to pursue their own solutions, but enough remained to form a working alliance. As the meeting concluded, Daniel turned to Kate. "That was diplomatic magic. How did you convince them?" She smiled tiredly. "I didn't have to lie or manipulate. Sometimes the truth is persuasive enough if you're willing to face it squarely." She looked at the star map, where the void continued its relentless expansion. "Now we just have to hope we're right." Daniel nodded. "Time to deliver humanity's warning to the galaxy. The eternal night is coming, but we don't have to face it alone or at each other's expense." The massive hangar bay of Unity Station buzzed with activity as ships from a dozen different worlds prepared for departure. What had started as a four-species coalition had grown into the largest unified force the galaxy had ever seen. Humanity's warning had spread across the stars, and many had answered the call. Alex Wright stood on the observation deck, watching the organized chaos below. In the 3 weeks since the Stargazer's return, everything had changed. The void's expansion had accelerated dramatically, consuming an entire sector of Arcturus space. The doubters had become believers very quickly after that. "Final preparations are almost complete," Kate Foster said, joining him at the viewport. "The Viridian science vessel just docked with the modifications Olivia designed." Alex nodded. "And the precursor ring?" "Ryan's team has managed to reprogram the control systems. They're ready to install the modified command modules on all 7 activation points." Below them, the Stargazer was being loaded with supplies. Daniel Green supervised as his crew worked alongside aliens from 5 different species. The ship had been further modified based on what they had learned about the void's effects on normal space. Olivia Bennett emerged from an access panel, wiping grease from her hands. Her engineering innovations had become the foundation of their plan. By combining precursor technology with elements from all the allied species, they had created something entirely new, not just a shield to redirect the void, but a network that might actually disperse it. "The dispersion field generators are online," she called to Daniel. "Power output is stable at 93%. "Will that be enough?" he asked. Olivia shrugged. "It has to be. We can't get more power without risking a core breach." Nearby, Emma Phillips worked with Guardian and several other alien scientists, finalizing the biological protection protocols. They had discovered that living tissue was affected differently by the void than non-organic matter. Their protective suits incorporated this knowledge. "These will buy us time if we're caught at the edge of the effect," Emma explained to a group of Nexus workers. "But don't take unnecessary risks. We still don't fully understand what happens to living beings within the void." William Carter led a mixed team of security personnel through combat drills. No one knew if conventional weapons would work against the Voidmakers, but they had to be prepared. "Remember your training," he instructed them. "Stay together, maintain communications, and follow evacuation protocols if the dispersion field fails." Ryan Cooper sat cross-legged on the deck, surrounded by holographic displays. His fingers danced over the controls as he made final adjustments to the activation sequence. "The timing has to be perfect," he muttered to himself. "All 7 points activating within 3 seconds of each other." Alex checked the time. In 6 hours, the fleet would depart. 7 key ships would position themselves at the carefully calculated points around the galaxy. The rest would form a defensive perimeter, ready to evacuate civilian populations if the plan failed. "Do you think it will work?" Kate asked quietly. Before Alex could answer, a commotion erupted near the main entrance. Several Arcturus ships that had abandoned the coalition weeks earlier were requesting emergency docking. Their worlds had been the first hit when the void changed direction. "They've come back," Kate said, surprised. "They had nowhere else to go," Alex replied. "And maybe they realized we're stronger together." Daniel approached them, his expression determined. "Final checks are complete. The Stargazer is ready." "Good," Alex said. "You'll lead the primary activation team. I want our best people on this." "What about the refugees?" Daniel asked, nodding toward the incoming Arcturus ships. "We'll make room," Kate said firmly. "No one gets left behind." As sunset painted the station in golden light, the first ships began to launch. The fleet moved in perfect formation, each vessel taking its assigned position. On the Stargazer's bridge, Daniel settled into the captain's chair. His crew, human and alien alike, worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. "Set course for activation point 1, he ordered. "Maximum speed." As the ship accelerated away from Unity Station, he looked at the stars spread out before them. Soon, they would reach the edge of the void, where darkness consumed everything. But they weren't running away. They were heading straight for it, carrying the hope of every living being in the galaxy. Guardian stood beside him, watching the same view. "Your people could have chosen the easy path. You could have activated the ring as it was. Save yourselves." 1 year had passed since the Coalition fleet faced the void. On a small green hill overlooking New Geneva, Lily Carson sat watching the sunset. Though Earth had been spared, the battle had left its mark across the galaxy. Scars of darkness remained in places where stars once shined, permanent reminders of how close they had come to losing everything. Lily checked her tablet as it pinged with an incoming message. It was from Alex Wright, asking her to attend a ceremony the following day. The first anniversary of what people now call the Stand. She smiled and sent a quick reply. Of course she would be there. Her discovery of the void all those years ago had started humanity on this path. She wanted to see where it led next. The next morning, Lily joined the gathering at Unity Station's Grand Hall. Representatives from 27 species filled the room. Far more than the original coalition. The void had changed everything, bringing together civilizations that once avoided each other. Alex Wright stood at the podium, looking older but somehow lighter than before. The weight of leadership remained, but now it was shared across many shoulders. 1 year ago today, we faced extinction, he began. The void threatened to consume all light, all life in our galaxy. We stood against it, not as separate species, but as a united front. And we survived. Lily spotted familiar faces in the crowd. Daniel Green sat with his arm in a sling, still recovering from injuries sustained during the final battle. Beside him, Olivia Bennett whispered something that made him smile. Their modified dispersal field had worked better than anyone dared hope, breaking apart the void's expansion and disrupting its energy patterns. Ryan Cooper stood near a group of alien scientists, deep in conversation about the precursor technology they continued to study. His understanding of the ancient systems had proven crucial in those final moments when everything nearly failed. "The cost was high," Alex continued. "We lost brave souls from every world. Ships and stations destroyed. Even entire planets in the sectors closest to the void center. We honor their sacrifice today." A moment of silence fell across the room. Lily thought of Guardian and his people. The Meridian survivor had not lived to see their victory. He died protecting the activation point when Voidmakers attacked the station. His final words, transmitted to all ships, became a rallying cry. "For all who will come after us." Kate Foster approached the podium next. Her diplomatic skills had been instrumental in keeping the Alliance together during the darkest moments. "We have begun rebuilding what was lost," she said. "The precursor technology, now understood, helps us restore damaged worlds. But more importantly, we are building something new, a true galactic community." Emma Phillips stood near a window, watching ships come and go. Her research into the biological effects of the void had saved countless lives. She had also discovered something unexpected. Traces of Voidmaker essence could be used to heal previously incurable diseases, Light from darkness, as she wrote in her research papers. William Carter led a group of mixed-species security officers through the crowd. The former Marine now headed the newly formed Galactic Defense Force, teaching different species to work together against common threats. As the ceremony ended, Lily found herself standing beside a young Viridian scientist. "Is it true you were the first to see the void?" the alien asked, her 4 arms moving gracefully as she spoke. "I was," Lily replied, "though back then I had no idea what it would lead to. Our historians call you First Watcher. Your discovery changed the course of galactic history." Lily laughed softly. "I was just doing my job, looking at the stars, trying to understand them. And now we look at them together," the Viridian said, gesturing to the viewport where Earth hung like a blue jewel against the blackness of space. Later, as the gathering dispersed, Lily joined Alex on an observation deck. Together, they watched the memorial lights being launched. Thousands of small beacons, one for each life lost in the battle. "Do you think they'll come back?" Lily asked. "The Void Makers?" Alex considered this. "Perhaps. But next time, we won't be unprepared. And we won't be alone." The beacons spread out, forming a river of light against the darkness. Humanity's warning had saved the galaxy, but it was their refusal to abandon others that had truly changed it. Where once separate civilizations had faced the night alone, now a united galaxy stood watch, ready to face whatever came next, together.